the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
What weighs 6 ounces sits in a tree and is very dangerous.
A sparrow with a machine gun.
Well, it's Monday, and the good news is my 2001 poster came in today, so I've got that mounted, and now I have the 4 complete posters on the wall. So the room's coming together bit by bit, so naturally I have to start thinking the rest of the house needs work. And it's Monday evening, and I'm back on Robin, take 2, the second Robin, the Robining. If there's any benefit to making the same kit more than once, is that hopefully you learn what mistakes to avoid and what procedures to follow. And I have vowed this time to only paint things once. Last time on the Robin, I ended up painting things over several times because I was struggling to get the right balance of color. And now, hopefully, having done that once, I can skip that stage this time and paint everything the colors that I ended up painting the first one right off the bat instead of having to experiment. So I've got the greens on everything. I started with a dark green, which is this Tamiya green, Tamiya plain old X5 green, and used that as a base coat. And then I lightly oversprayed Park Green, which is an X28, over top of it, just hitting the highlights and not covering everything, so that you still have darker greens in the shadows. And that's really the look that I want for all of Robin's greens. Particularly, I won't have to go over these guys 4 or 5 times, hopefully. So I'm going to let that dry overnight, and then come back and hit the reds tomorrow, and then gussy up the flesh tones, and maybe we'll be ready for some construction. Well, good afternoon. It is still Tuesday, and I am getting on to the next big chunk of Robin painting, which will be the red. It is cold, wet, and nasty outside, so that I cannot take these legs out and put a clear coat on them like I would like to. So I'm just going to set them carefully aside and try not to get anything on them. But I need to mask off the pants and the sleeve and the collar on the top here so that I can paint the red. Okay, the first base coat of red is on, at least on his tunic. It is a 50-50 mix of Hull red and regular old Tamiya red, and this is what I use to deepen the shadows and do some pre-shading, and then I can just lightly bring up the color with the full red, and I can gauge how bright I want that to be by how many coats of that I put on. And I just painted in, roughed in Robin's hair as well with the Hull red while I was at it. Slow and steady. It's a bit like Christmas. He's got his elf colors on. It's red and green and gold. It's your typical elf costume, even down to the little wings on his booties. Here's where we'll end a Tuesday evening. I've got the first coat of the iridescent on the yellow cape, on the outside at least, not on the inside. I've got a lighter coat of red over top of the darker coat of red. I'm going to let that dry. Hopefully tomorrow it will be dry enough and bright enough and warm enough outside to give everything a good clear coating, and then we can progress with all of the flesh and green bits that are in here. Notably the legs. I need to get a clear coat on them, and the arms. So that's it for tonight. I will see you again in the morning. Well, greetings. It's Wednesday morning today, and I've just gone around and taken the tape off of Robin and gone through with a fine detail brush and painted in some detail, notably the boundaries between the flesh and the sleeves and the gloves. The underside of the glove is tough to mask, so you kind of have to paint that in by hand. And I've done that on all of the, like I said, the boundary areas. And I've also gone into the gloves and with a darker green and just kind of traced in some of the creases. And did that on the sleeves and on the, I put the wings on the little booties, which I found is easier to do now than waiting till the end like I did on the first build. So the lessons you learn. And I've also gone in and painted details on the vest there. Now you see what looks like little cartoony lines were in the creases, and I'm going to be getting rid of those, but I wanted to get to this point first before I hit it with a clear coat. It's still too cold outside to do any clear coating, so I went ahead and did this little bit of detail painting. Then I'm going to hit it with a clear coat to kind of seal all of these colors in, and then I may go over it again lightly with some colors in the airbrush to brighten up some stuff, but also to clean up where I've to blend in that area around the collar and blend in those creases that I've painted. But that yellow is such a weak color that I wanted to. You can't put it all on in one coat because it will start running if you try to cover it so much. So what I'm going to do is let that, oh, the arm just snapped into place. That's how powerful that magnet is. Yes, I know it's slightly in the wrong place. It needs to be moved up like that. So let me zoom back out. Once the, see, that's what's with the magnet. But what I was talking about before the magnet snapped in there was I wanted to get these colors sealed in, and then I'll go back over it one more time with another lighter coat of the yellow paint over the stitches and the R. So we're going to let this sit for a while. One last thing I can do is go ahead and put the, this is the nice iridescent coat on the pearlescent coat on the back, and I'm going to do that on the inside now, and then I can set all this stuff to dry for a few hours before I come back to it. Good morning, it's Friday and work continues on Robin. I think we may even wrap him up today, who knows. Decided to do a little bit of regreening. I went away from Robin for a while and came back, and when I came back I saw that, yes, I know it's sprayed with a high gloss right now, and that makes colors look artificial, but the green that was on him was really too cartoony, too Peter Pan, too elf, too Christmassy green. And I went back and looked at some Blu-rays, and I noticed that particularly in the material, not so much in the gloves and the boots, but in the material, his pants and his sleeves, it's more of a blue-green, and I was going towards the yellow-green. And oddly enough, I think the color of the tape was throwing me off as well, because I tape off with green, and that was giving me a weird color combination. So I went back and I kind of found a green that is a little bit bluer. It's one of the doomed polyscale colors called mechanical pine green. I guess it's mech pine green. Whether mechanical or not, I don't know. But I went back and I carefully masked around the booties and the sleeves and stuff. And I think that that green is a more realistic green, a better green, for lack of a better term. And so I went back and regreened everything. And the fact that it's flat helps it, but I'm really liking this color better. So once that's dried for a little bit, I will go back and touch up the red, and we should be ready for some construction. It's a face, completely a blank slate at this point. I'm going to do the body like I did last time, do the body and everything, and then leave the face separate. I got to start working not on the legs, but I need to start working skin tones into the arms and the head, and I'm going to do all of that at the same time so that my skin tones match. Welcome back. It's mid to late Friday afternoon, and I'm trying to get something done on Robin today, starting to put in the flesh tones now that I've dulled down the green and subdued the red a little bit. It is time to turn my attention to the flesh, matters of the flesh, and yes, it looks like he's been out in the sun way too much. But that's what I wanted to do. I want to get a base coat on him, and then a coat of the blush flesh. I've been having a hard time saying that today. Blush flesh. And then I'm going to hit the high spots with the regular flesh, kind of bring it back up. So I'm letting that blush flesh dry for a little bit, and Where else was I? Where else was I? What else was I? Oh, I decided to go ahead and do put white in his eyes. I had been doing the the trick I learned a while back is that unless you have had them chemically treated, the whites of your eyes very rarely are actually white. If you paint them white, it has a tendency to make them look like a doll and not like an actual person. They're actually like a bone color or a light blue sometimes. But I discovered when I did the first Robin that if I did that with these eyes, they kind of disappeared behind the mask. So to make them show up a little bit more, I am going in with an actual white behind them. Maybe that'll make them stand out a little bit better. So let this dry and I'll come back to it in a minute. And you may well be saying, well, how come he couldn't get that Robin finished this week? It's just a dinky little Robin after all. Well, I'll tell you, it's because I've been working on some other improvements for the house. Now, it's one of those true things about life that as soon as you get one room renovated or added on or made new or otherwise redecorated, that immediately the rest of the house starts to look pale by comparison. So with the room that adjoins the new display room emptied, I took it upon myself this time to make a set of shelves for DVDs. Matching set. I had some patchwork shelves. There's the other one. I had some patchwork shelves that I had put together years ago and was using them just fine, but I wasn't really maximizing the room as well as I could. So since this room is now mostly empty until I move stuff back into it, it was a good time that I could lay things out on the floor and put them together and bang them together. And we're running out of good weather outside. It was very cold today, which probably the last good day to be working outside. So I was able to chop some wood up and throw it together in a somewhat orderly fashion to make a couple of these to replace what was here. And now I can rehabilitate the rest of this room. And now as to what happens in the rest of the house, I'm not going to show you because basically this is not decorating with Lou. So it's not in the scope of the video. So someone asked me if I had one of these. Yes, I do. And as soon as you walk by it, it makes that noise. But outside of putting up a couple of pictures on the Boogaloo head since the last time you were in here, nothing else has changed. And here's where we're going to leave this week's work. Familiar sight, decapitated Robin and other parts just laying around. Said I would get these together today. You should know me better than that by now. It's never going to happen as quickly as I had in mind, but I'll show you. This is how it looks. See? Jumped right in place. The magnets, I think, were a neat idea. And I'm ready to, basically, once I'm ready to put this thing together, it'll go together in minutes because it is a ridiculously easy kit to build. It's just that I'm keeping it apart to make it easier to paint. And yes, I know that R should be yellow. I put white underneath it to make the yellow pop. That's my intention. And that brings us to the close of another work week here. We are getting desperately close to Christmas, and with taking time out to do Christmas shopping and working on the room to make it ready for visitors who might be coming around Christmas, that's taken some time away. So I didn't get as far on Robin as I wanted to. Didn't even look at the bat plane this week, but it's safe. It's out somewhere on top of a shelf where it will not get the chaos and the dust around it. So when I get to it, I will be able to move pretty quickly on it. Got some exciting things coming up in the weeks to come. Not only the bat plane, which I swear I'm going to get done before the end of the year. That's my goal. And the Proteus, but I've got a couple other projects percolating in the background. A good friend of mine has asked me to do up some paint-ups of some kits that will be used as the box art for these kits. These are garage kits, but he wants them to look like they were all done by the same artist. So he's got a series of ships he is sending me to paint up so that all of his box art will look consistent, and consistency is a wonderful thing. So I'll be taking on that in the near future. They will not be lit, so they're pretty quick little resin kits. They go together pretty quickly, and that's what's coming in the weeks to come. And then we'll see what the new year brings. But until then, if I don't see you before, have a Merry Christmas. I know we've got a couple of weeks yet, but you can never be too early to start wishing the Merry Christmas. So until next week, be good to each other, have fun, and we'll see you here next time.